it pokes holes into those cells. And that's how it kills the insect. Now, you can take the bacteria and the spores and put it in a spray and spray it on your crops. It'll kill certain types of insects this way. Not all types. And then it washes off and biodegrades. Now, the Environmental Protection Agency has labeled Bt corn as an insecticide. So, the corn plant, they took the gene from the soil bacteria, made millions of copies, put it in a gun, shot the gun into millions of cells, cloned those cells into plants, and now every cell of the plant creates the Bt toxin that breaks open the stomach of insects and kills them. Alright? Now, is it okay that we put Bt toxin in our food? Well, I don't think so. And the reason they say it's okay to put Bt in our food is because of three important assumptions. One, history of safe use of the food supply. 3 people here use it, must be safe. Now when you use the Bt spray, and you look at the side, does it say also uses toothpaste and mouthwash? No, it says do not take internally or consult the Poison Control Center. They also claim, too, that the Bt is destroyed in the digestive process of mammals, including humans. And 3, even if it weren't destroyed, there's no interaction between Bt toxin and human cells whatsoever. It is species-specific and we included. Now these are the assumptions that allow Bt toxin to be produced in the crops. And thousands of times the concentration of the spray in a formulation that's more toxic than the spray, with properties of a known allergen, and it doesn't wash off and it doesn't biodegrade. Being so different from the natural Bt, none of those comparisons should have allowed the Bt on the market because it's a different animal or whatever it is. But even the natural Bt spray, according to peer-reviewed published studies, is not safe. When it was sprayed for gypsy moth infestation in the Pacific Northwest, about 500 people had allergic or flu-like symptoms. Some had to go to the hospital. Farmers mixing the Bt had problems. When it was fed to mice, it survived digestion, caused tissue damage in the intestines, and immune system responses. When the Bt corn is fed to mice, massive immune system responses. When fed to rats, signs of toxicity, immune system reactions. In India, the cotton that they're using there from Monsanto is genetically engineered to produce this Bt toxin. Thousands of farm workers in India are getting rashes, itching rashes all over their bodies. I read the analysis of the symptoms that the doctors described from 23 of these victims of Monsanto cotton, and they were identical to the symptoms described in the 500 people in the Pacific Northwest who were sprayed with Bt. Now, it does get a little worse. The only human feeding study ever published was done on soybeans. We'll talk about Roundup Ready soy in a few minutes. So when someone asks me a question about Roundup Ready soy, the gene, part of the gene that was inserted into the Roundup Ready soy to make it resistant to death by Roundup roadside, transferred into the DNA of bacteria living inside our intestines. And the bacteria was not killable with Roundup. It was Roundup Ready gut bacteria, suggesting that the gene was continuing to function inside of us, meaning that long after we stop eating genetically modified foods, we may have these foreign proteins produced continuously inside our digestive tract. Now, in the case of Roundup Ready protein, it has properties of a dust-mite allergen. So if you're allergic to dust, you might be allergic to Roundup Ready proteins. If that's the case, you might be continuously triggered. But they stopped the research immediately after they discovered this. Because this was a UK government-funded study. They had already completely smashed the careers of other scientists that discovered problems. They were not willing to evaluate the next obvious question, which some of you may be asking yourselves now. Think about it. You eat a corn chip. Corn produced by BT corn. You eat it. The gene that produces the BT toxin. What if it also transfers to your gut bacteria? What if it continues to function? What if we turn our intestinal flora into living pesticide factories? Now, think about it. The BT toxin inside our gut. But don't worry, it doesn't affect human cells, right? That wasn't until February, when the Journal of Applied Toxicology took the BT toxin out of Monsanto's corn, exposed it to human cells, and guess what? It poked holes in the cells, causing them to leak, and the author said, this appears to be the mechanism by which it kills insects. Now, if it is poking holes in our intestines, and it is allergenic, what would we expect to see on the rise in the human population in the United States since GMOs were introduced? Let's start with messed up guts, okay? Inflammatory bowel disease, up 40% since GMOs were introduced. Colitis, Crohn's disease, all these things, digestive disorders. When I talk about BT in medical conferences where I speak all the time, the doctors tell me this might explain why gastrointestinal problems are skyrocketing in our practice. Also, immune system problems. It's triggering an immune system response, especially if it's there on a permanent basis. Now, remember, it's